Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 10th edition of Today in the World of Wrestling. Tonight we are going to be covering the 7-11, aka July 11th, 2016 episode of Monday Night Raw. We are 8 days removed from the live SmackDown and the draft and all this crazy stuff happening. And there was some pretty eventful stuff going down tonight. John, what did you think about this show on the whole?
I honestly had a lot of fun with tonight's show, dude.
Yeah, I felt like there was a lot going on. There was some different stuff. They kind of, blatantly copied TNA in one segment, but I think they did it better, which is kind of what the WWE's known for.
Exactly.
There's nothing original about them, but when they copy something, they do it better than the original.
That's so sad.
It is. So let's just talk about the show itself. We'll talk about what happened first, which was the Intercontinental Championship #1 contender battle royal. And I'm just going to list off in order who was eliminated. Aiden English, then Connor, then Curtis Axel, then R-Truth, then Victor, then Devon Dudley, then Simon Gotch, then Jay Uso, then Goldust, then Bo Dallas, then Jimmy Uso, then Jack Swagger, then Bubba Ray Dudley, then Alberto Del Rio, then Dolph Ziggler, and then a double elimination. Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews eliminated each other, which left one man in the ring, not even standing. He was on his knees because he was still recovering from previous offense that he had received. Darren Young. We're going to make him great again, John.
Very interesting turn in the Darren Young story. I have quite a bit to say about it on TitWoW.
It's funny because I was helping family move exercise equipment around during this segment, but when I was about to leave to go help them, I heard commentary say something about Bob Backlund being at ringside, and I saw Darren Young in the match, and I said immediately, well, since he's here, he's winning. And then I come back downstairs in the last, I think it was the final 5, because it was ADR, Ziggler, Crews, Corbin, and Young, and Darren Young wins.
Yep.
So then we got a backstage segment teasing Vince McMahon showing up for tonight. Shane McMahon and Stephanie want to figure out what he's there for, what he's going to be doing. Seth shows up, Seth Rollins, and he has footage that the world needs to see. Shane wants an Ambrose Asylum. Stephanie disagrees, and Stephanie and Seth arrive at the conclusion that Seth's going to have his own talk show, The Rollins Report.
Alliteration for the win.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't pulled any out of your butt tonight yet.
Keeping it close to the chest, brother.
So then we got a bunch of Brock stuff because he won UFC 200. He won his match against Mark Hunt. And then we got a backstage segment, Ryder and Rusev challenging for the U.S. title. Sheamus sneak attacks Ryder. They have a match. Sheamus wins, but then Rusev comes out and he's like, hey, man, I accept. And he just locks in the accolade of death on Ryder as he accepts his challenge for the U.S. title.
Laughed my ass off.
Well, that's kind of a hint for me to move on. Breezango versus the Lucha Dragons happen. Breezango are one of the most entertaining things going right now, not named The New Day or Enzo and Cass. Tag team division's on fire, and they won. They actually managed to get the win. Tyler Breeze super kicked Kalisto with his head tucked into the turnbuckle and then won with a roll-up on him, which was great. And yeah, Breezango picks up the win.
Yeah, definitely a smart choice by WWE here.
Rollins report. It happened, John. We got a Rollins report. He said he has footage of a one-on-one interview that he did with Roman, but it's just kind of one of those mock things where he's just asking questions and then using stock footage from a previous Roman interview to act like he's answering the questions smugly, which he would have anyway.
Cheeky, but fun nonetheless.
Yeah, but then Ambrose shows up, cuts an amazing promo, and these guys agree to have a match with each other one-on-one, which will happen next Monday on Raw.
Very, very good promo from Ambrose and great hype for next week's Raw, a day before the draft. Excellent work.
Well, Sami Zayn comes out because he's supposed to be on commentary, but then Kevin Owens bitches about it backstage, and he gets some referees and Stephanie McMahon to agree to remove Zayn from ringside. But, of course, because they come out, or Owens comes out around the same time Zayn's leaving, they fight. But eventually Owens makes it to the ring, and then his opponent, Cesaro, comes out, and Owens actually won this match. Despite being in that confrontation with Sami before it, he still managed to win, and I believe it was the Bop-Up Powerbomb, wasn't it?
Yeah, wonderful match between Owens and Cesaro, and Owens' stock continues to rise.
Yeah, the club talked about crashing the SBs to beat up John Cena, and then later on in the night, we had the club versus Enzo and Cass, where Enzo and Cass cut a promo, specifically Cass doing the majority of the talking here, about how they want Cena's spot just as much as the club does, but they want to actually earn it rather than trying to cheaply steal it almost.
Another great promo from the Realist guys.
Yeah. Titus versus Heath Slater happened. Titus wins. No one cares. This match was pointless.
Duly noted.
Renee Young interviewed Sasha Banks, and then later on in the night, Sasha had a match with Dana Brooke, which was technically the main event match of this show, because the actual main event was a talking segment, and this was right before that. So Sasha was, in this interview, obsessed with getting her hands on Dana Brooke and Charlotte's title, and then, of course, she does defeat Dana, and then we get a post-match horrible promo from Charlotte, basically saying Sasha hasn't proven herself yet, and she needs to be Dana again on SmackDown for her to consider her as a challenger.
Because reasons.
Exactly. Let's drag this out as long as possible, and maybe we can capitalize at SummerSlam. We got announced that on Thursday, SmackDown will feature a Miz TV with Darren Young and Bob Backlund. So the Intercontinental Champion having a talk show where he's hosting his challenger.
Great that they're getting behind Darren Young and making him great again.
Yeah, buddy. So I've been kind of building up to these last two talking points. The first one being the Wyatt family versus the New Day at the Wyatt compound. We got a few teasers and we got a recap of the whole feud so far building up to the fight. And then the fight itself, it's basically Final Deletion done well and with a decent budget, because the Final Deletion basically felt like a few guys that had some drones and high quality cameras lying around that wanted to tape some backyard wrestling. This felt like something that could have been in a movie.
I completely agree with your sentiments wholeheartedly.
That's it? That's all you had to say? Or you just want to talk more about it on TitWoW?
Talk more about it on TitWoW, definitely.
Oh, there you go, guys. You got to tune in for that then. So the final talking segment, Vince McMahon comes out and asks Stephanie and Shane to convince him why each one of them should be the SmackDown commissioner. Stephanie resorts to her old ways and attacks Shane personally, while Shane actually reasons and tries to state how he's going to help SmackDown become the superior brand. So Vince, in a shocking decision, gives SmackDown to Shane, but that also means that he's leaving Stephanie by herself in charge of Raw, and these two are going to be able to pick who their respective general managers are going to be next Monday on Raw. And Stephanie hinted that it's going to be her husband, Triple H, the Game.
Predictable, but fun segment nonetheless.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you agree with me when I say Shane's GM is going to be Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling, definitely.
All right, guys. Well, this has been your Monday Night Raw rundown, recap, reaction, whatever you want to call it. And we will see you for our full feature-length discussion on this show later on tonight during TitWoW.